She may be the darling of many progressive Democrats, but freshman Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is taking enormous criticism from some in her own party and her own state for her role in Amazon's decision to cancel plans for a huge investment in New York. Here's correspondent Doug McElway.
Democrats are often called the party of the big tent, but critics say Amazon's decision to bail on a new headquarters in Queens, New York has exposed the party's other reputation as a circular firing squad.
Why in the world would you celebrate driving 25,000 jobs out of Long Island City? I mean, that is just ridiculous.
Amazon said the average salary for those 25,000 new employees would have exceeded $150,000 per year, bringing in an estimated $27.5 billion in tax revenues over the next 25 years. A windfall, especially considering the state only had to give up $3 billion in tax incentives to entice Amazon. But the increasing leftward anti-business tilt of the party helped poison the deal. One Amazon executive told NBC, quote, "If you talk to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, it's never Amazon."
What this is a celebration of is that everyday people in the community stood up and they wanted a say in what was happening in their own backyard.
Polls found a majority of New Yorkers supported the deal, despite Amazon's non-union policy, even in this union-rich city.
And see what basically we're left with now. The bombed-out cars in our neighborhood. This is not Shangri-La over here. We needed this over here. We needed this.
More traditional Democratic politicians supported it too. Governor Andrew Cuomo fumed, quote, "A small group of politicians put their own narrow political interests above their community."
We wanted to negotiate a better deal. We didn't want to see those on the left, those who are anti-capitalist, completely kill the deal.
It's the latest fissure in a party which is smarting from the controversies of late-term abortion, blackface, and sexual harassment in Virginia, an embarrassing rollout of what some Democrats say is the overly ambitious Green New Deal, and accusations of anti-Semitism within its caucus.
Those controversies are all boxes that President Trump may be checking for later use when his re-election campaign gears up. Brett?
Doug, thank you.
Well, if you still question how far left Democrats are going, listen to this. The left's Green New Deal is filled with unrealistic proposals that include 100% clean and renewable energy, eliminating gas-powered engines like cars, making air travel obsolete, retrofitting all existing buildings, and economic security for all, even those who are unwilling to work. Self-proclaimed Democratic socialist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez explains her plan. Listen to this.
Today is also the day that we choose to assert ourselves as a global leader in transitioning to 100% renewable energy and charting that path. This is such a major watershed moment, and I am so incredibly excited that we are going to transition this country into the future, and we are not going to be dragged behind by our past.
So there's that. And check out how Democrats are hailing this dream deal. Enjoy, courtesy of Cory Booker.
And there's a lot of people now that are blowing back on the Green New Deal. They're like, oh, it's impractical. Oh, it's too expensive. Oh, it's all of this. If we used to govern our dreams that way, we would have never gone to the moon. And when the planet has been in peril in the past, who came forward to save Earth from the scourge of Nazi and totalitarian regimes? We came forward.
All right, so Juan, I'm going to start with you. How does this, so we've had a handful of Democratic contenders for 2020 sign on to this and say that they endorse it. How does this help Democrats in any way in trying to reconnect with some of these Rust Belt states, particularly when you're talking about eliminating their major sources of electricity in these states?
Oh, I think that you have, and I think this is why you have 9 of the candidates for president and 60 members of the House sign on, Lisa, is because they see that it's politically resonates with people who said, you know, we've been doing nothing. I think it was just
But in
yesterday.
the Rust Belt states or in the Midwest?
Yeah, hold on. I'll explain. I think yesterday there was a report that we just had the 5 hottest years in the history of recorded history of the planet. And so I think people are concerned. Remember, this is a resolution. This is not even a piece of legislation. So it doesn't matter. It does matter because she is in bold strokes saying, and this is what Cory Booker was saying, here is where we should be thinking in order to innovate, to deal with these issues going forward. And in fact, what we know about things like cap and trade and alternate energy sources is that it it's economically feasible. It generates jobs.
But Dana, what do you make of this? Because there's reports that the Trump campaign is ecstatic over this, the fact that so many Democratic hopefuls have signed on to this. What do you make of what
Well,
Wanda said?
I think that their slogan could, instead of hope and change, it could be the triumph of hope over experience. Because they know that it's a pipe dream. But the thing is, if you don't sign on to the dream, then you're like an old establishment guy.
They're against pipes, too.
Who wants this dream?
Well, look, like, they're believing there are plenty of them, especially the younger people, and they're trying to get them all energized and excited. But they pay no political price within the Democratic Party for signing on to this dream. When it gets to the general election, yes, probably. But this, to me, was not about environmentalism. It's about progressivism, because you add in all the other things, health care, education, etc. And it's not, the taxes aren't the problem, physics are the problem. Because if you could figure out a way to not have fossil fuels, we would have done that by now. The physics just aren't there yet. And I know you want to go. The nuclear part of her deal, well, I should say Ed Markey's as well, who should probably know better, as he was the senior guy on energy and committee. The initial document said they're going to do all of this in 10 years, get off fossil fuels, go completely renewable without the help of nuclear energy. There is no sane scientist on the planet who says that that is possible. Brian? So they've changed the document.
Free money, economic security, provide for those unable or unwilling to work, ban meat, healthy food for everyone, provide job training and education for all. What planet is this person on? What about capitalism? What about striving? I mean, why do I want one dream? Why do I want one path? What country, what society has ever provided all these things? Why is that even a goal?
Well, and Greg, about capitalism, America's already leading the world in reducing carbon emissions. Yep. So why do we need an entire government upheaval of essentially everything?
Because we're evil. That's the point. We are evil. The fact is, it's about an underlying shift. It's the fascist dream from taking away from the decentralized individual and handing power to a centralized force of government, which can only exist with force. This is a fantasy that requires an army, because you're going to have to enforce this on people. I think the plan will work, by the way. All you need is the Iron Man suit of armor, the Star Trek transporter, and the invisible cloak from Harry Potter, and I think this could work. But this is what you said. It's not about the climate. It's about a power grab, and it's about taking it away from the individual. You can't drive, you can't fly, but guess who still has the power? The people in charge. They'll still fly, they'll still drive, because they're more important than the public. So they'll take it from everybody. If you go to any socialist country, the socialist leaders still got the goods.
Right.
In Venezuela, they still got the goods.
And they'll fly in their private jets. Well, we'll end it there, because I like that point, and it's my segment. So.
Amid a lot of fanfare today, freshman Democrat Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez joined with Massachusetts Democrat Senator Ed Markey to roll out ambitious plans for Democratic policy. But even before it launched, the most powerful member of the House downplayed the Green New Deal. And after, well, a lot of people, many in her own party, were having to dodge questions about the plan's specifics. The reason, many lawmakers find it pretty far-fetched to eliminate flatulating cows and air travel in just 10 years' time. Chief Congressional Correspondent Mike Emanuel joins us from Capitol Hill with the Green New Deal fallout. Good evening, Mike.
Brett, good evening to you. It was stunning how quickly some Democrats jumped on this proposal, eager to link themselves to the left's star of the moment.
I am so incredibly excited.
The Green New Deal has an estimated price tag of $7 trillion, but its freshman champion, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, doesn't want to talk about that.
So the resolution itself does not have a price tag on it, which is why we address each individual project on its own.
It is certainly ambitious, moving America to 100% clean and renewable energy by 2030, through major investment increases in wind and solar power, sweetened with generous tax incentives. And it would modernize U.S. infrastructure, upgrade or replace every building for energy efficiency, and create an economic safety net for low-income communities. But in trying to achieve those net zero emission goals, organizers are trying to get a handle on practical limits, admitting in earlier drafts that, quote, we aren't sure that we'll be able to fully get rid of farting cows and airplanes that fast. That odorous description was omitted from the eventual online version. But the plan extends beyond the environment guaranteeing job security and paid vacation, and it promises economic security for all those who are unable or even unwilling to work.
So when our default is renewable, when our default investments are clean, then all of us by default, regardless of income, will have access to those energy sources.
Some 2020 presidential hopefuls were quick to jump on board, including Senators Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, Kirsten Gillibrand, and Cory Booker. They used words like bold and excited in supporting the resolution. But House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, in an interview with Politico, referred to it as the green dream or whatever they call it. Nobody knows what it is, but they're for it, right?
Quite frankly, I haven't seen it, but I do know that it's enthusiastic, and we welcome all the enthusiasms that are out there.
Ocasio-Cortez didn't take offense when asked about it.
No, I think it is a green dream. I don't consider that to be a dismissive term. I think it's a great term.
And it has earned the seal of approval from former Vice President Al Gore, who called the goals ambitious and comprehensive.
Many veteran Democrats with years of experience on this issue seemed quite content to let the newly elected New Yorker take the rhetorical lead on the plan. Pelosi also rolled out her Climate Select Committee today, and Ocasio-Cortez is not a member. Ocasio-Cortez insists she was not snubbed. Brett?
Mike Emanuel live on the Hill. Mike, thanks.